Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Lance here, and I'm excited for this one today because I'm going to chat with you about something that I normally only talk with my clients about. I obviously go very, very deep within our Master Your Body Confidence program, and I decided, you know what, I want to start talking a little bit about the depth of some of what we do in our program. And so today I want to talk with you about one of the key things that we teach and preach and practice in our program. And that's simply that the lie of the weight loss or fitness plateau, it's absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't exist, and I'm going to explain why here in just a second. So this may be one you want to take notes for. I'm not going to go crazy deep. I'm going to make sure that I, kind of keep this on a surface level so that it makes sense. But by the end of the video, you should very much see that plateaus actually do not exist, and that it's just simply a mathematical equation to solve. So here's the deal. When you hit a supposed plateau, very first thing, everybody hits this point, and you might be asking, hey, maybe you're wondering, what is a weight loss plateau? This is usually where the notion is that we get to a point that what was working on our diet, our meal plan, or our workout, whatever, stops yielding the same sort of results that we were seeing early on. And this is normally known as a plateau. And the belief is that people generally will be able to lose weight or get themselves closer to be in shape. But if you hit the dreaded plateau, your results are pretty much done for. And this is usually where you get out of the diet, you get out of the program, you stop doing whatever because you bought into the notion that a plateau meant that your body is no longer going to work for you. So a lot of times this happens whenever people are like significantly lower in calories than where they should be, and they basically feel like, I don't have anywhere else to go and my body just stopped responding. Or a lot of times we see where people are on a meal plan and they don't really understand the calories in versus calories out notion, and they're following the meal plan and it's working, and then all of a sudden it just stops working. So they think something's wrong with either me or the meal plan. I've hit a plateau. Okay. So very first thing is, let me know in the comments, can you relate to that? Have you hit the dreaded or supposed plateau? Now I've hit it as well. I'm just going to explain what it is so you don't have to fear it. That's the cool thing. And when you have a system to follow, you no longer fear some of these things like this. So here's the deal. When you hit a supposed plateau, what it means is that your body has adapted to the stimuli that you're giving it, and something needs at this point to be changed in order to shock it back into movement again. And so at this point, excuse me, the main thing that you need to understand is that your body is, when it's dropping body fat, it's letting go of body fat simply because you are at a calorie deficit. And what that means is that every person burns a certain amount of calories each day. So your basal metabolism, which is what your BMR, which is what you're burning at rest, not counting your activity. There's several different things. And then you also have your exercise activity, which is going to be factored in. And when you, in exercise activity is going to be counted as any of your activities throughout the day too. It's not only going to be specific to workouts. So the exercise activity, the EA is going to be responsible for determining your, at least a fraction of your total energy expenditure. So now you have this number. If you picture 3,000 calories being your number, that is the number that it requires for your body to maintain its body weight. Let's say, as an example. And so what happens is, if you start decreasing calories beneath that 3,000, you are going to start experiencing fat loss because you are consuming less calories, or you're not providing enough calories for your body to maintain its level of body weight. So it starts losing them because, again, you're not paying it to keep it, basically. So here's the issue. A lot of times what happens is people might go on a deficit to start losing weight. Now, you may not know it's a deficit, but that's why you're losing weight. And what happens is once people, anybody, once you have been on this particular meal plan, this diet, this calorie range, even as far as how many calories a day you're burning, your body begins to adapt. It wants to become more efficient at the responsibilities that you're giving it each day. And so what that means is that if you are eating 3,000 calories a day and you're a construction worker, then your body will build enough muscle to swing the hammer, to saw the what, and again, it depends on what you're doing. If you're, walking with drywall, then that's something different. If you're a roofer, it's something different. But pick your poison on any of those. You will, at the beginning of your career, if you are in construction, your body, if you're feeding enough, will build muscle. It will not build more muscle than what is required for your job. What happens is once you've built enough muscle for the job that you can efficiently work on the roof or move drywall daily, etc., it will not build more muscle than what is needed. This is what is known to weightlifters as a plateau. And I say weightlifters because this is usually where people will believe like, well, I just stopped building muscle. I just stopped gaining. I just can't gain more muscle. This is what happens is you are not shocking your body enough. You've not created enough stimuli because your body has adapted to what you've given it. Does this make sense? Let me know in the comments if this makes sense. Because, and the reason I brought up the construction is because most people know construction is a physical job. And most people, when you start off in construction, you are not adequately built for that job. You don't have the cardio that you need, so you're winded, you feel tired, and a lot of people don't even make it through, the first, let's say, week or two of a new construction position, etc. I was 18 whenever I started doing that, and I did not care for it. I do like construction. My dad does construction. A lot of people in my family do, but it's not for me. And the thing of it is that in the beginning of that, even though I worked out, I was underprepared for that job. So my body started building muscle specifically to the muscles that I was utilizing, and that they were underprepared, underdeveloped for that load, for that job. So the point is that if you want to overcome a plateau within muscle, you must shock the muscle and you must give it something beyond, we call this the progressive overload, something beyond what it is currently used to doing. See, this is not a plateau issue. Now again, it might be your food, which we'll talk about in just a second, but this is not a plateau. This is simply the fact that you need a greater intensity, a greater volume, a greater load. You might need greater time under tension, but some variation is going to lead to a stimulus that is going to change your physique, no longer plateau. Now, when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to nutrition, the same thing happens. As I mentioned and started kind of talk about the calorie deficit, if you're at 3,000 calories and I put you at 2,500 calories, you're going to start losing weight. But it's not going to, that 500 calorie deficit will not cause you to be in enough of a deficit indefinitely. Meaning that if I give you a meal plan at first that's 2,500 calories, that meal plan is not going to help you lose every single ounce of fat. This is often one of the biggest misnomers that people have, is believing that some meal plan is magic because it worked at first, and then believing that somehow the well dried up when you stop losing weight. You stop losing weight because your body became more efficient at utilizing those calories, meaning that 2,500 calories was seen as a deficit for your body at first. You're used to 3,000, you burn 3,000 a day, that's what your body needs. I give you 2,500, your body burns fat. Now, once it has done this for, I don't know, it could be a couple weeks, it could be a month, it could be 2 months. It depends on how fast your metabolism adjusts. But what will happen is you'll start noticing that the weight loss slows down. Did the meal plan stop working? Did your body adjust and now hit a plateau? No. Your body simply adjusted and it became more efficient and effective with utilizing those calories. Think about that for a minute. So I talked about the construction worker, And let's say that the construction worker needs 3,000 calories a day to be able to effectively do his job. But he's got body fat, and so he only feeds himself 2,500 calories a day. His body is lacking 500 calories to do that job, so it starts tapping into his fat source in order to help him get through the construction job that he has. So what happens is, after a little bit, his body is like, dang, again, obviously, guys, when I'm speaking for a body that cannot speak, I am definitely being facetious. I'm being metaphorical on these things. I'm not being literal. So the body begins to realize, wow, he's very clearly only feeding us 2,500 calories, even though he knows it takes 3,000 calories to do this job he wants us to do. All right, well, then basically picture a team of the metabolism and the team captain going, okay, since he's not feeding us enough, I want all of you guys to start cutting a few corners, to make it where this 2,500 calories, we're making it last better. Basically, think about somebody who's on a budget and you start, not spending at McDonald's and you start, saving a couple bucks here. That is what your metabolism is doing. So your metabolism starts basically trying to get better at using the 2,500 calories that you're paying it. And so what happens is, after a little bit, it finally gets so good at utilizing and getting all of your activities done with the less calories that you gave it, that now your body is not burning fat in order to get the job done. Does this make sense? I hope it does. I want to make sure that I'm explaining this, because when it clicks, when it really clicks, you're going to see that you're in 100% control and plateaus do not exist. So what happens is, now your body has gotten more efficient at utilizing these 2,500 calories that we've given it. So it's no longer burning fat. So that's awesome for the body, because, hey, that's awesome. It's preventing us from starving and using less calories to help me get my job done. But I want to lose more body fat. So I have two options. I can decrease calories again by feeding myself less, knowing that my body will eventually adapt again, or I can start burning more calories, which is the output, by working out more, by working more, by walking more, by several different ways I can burn more calories. That's just the bottom line. You can think of however you want to, but if I burn more calories, that's another way that puts me into a deficit, because now, instead of it costing me 2,500 calories a day to maintain the job, because the body has gotten good at it, now what we're doing is, now instead of, and we're still feeding the body 2,500 calories, let's say that you don't want to decrease your calories anymore. You're like, man, I'm just struggling with that, but I still want to lose weight. Well, if you're only working out 20 minutes a day, or if you're only working out 3 times a week, you can simply increase your output by 10 minutes a day, or increase your frequency of how many workouts you have by 1 or 2 times a week. Now that causes you to thusly be back in a greater deficit, or to be in a deficit again, because now your body was needing 2,500 calories a day after it adapted, but now what you're doing is saying, okay, fine, body, since you adapted to this and I don't want to feed you less, I like the food that I got, I'm going to make you need to burn 2,800 calories a day. So, but I'm still only going to feed you 2,500. So the body's like, all right, fine. So the body starts doing everything that you're asking it to, but it's missing 300 calories because you're burning 300 more than you were. So now the body starts having to use its fat storage to help you get your load done. Same thing back to the beginning. That's all this comes down to. So I'm going to leave it to there. I don't want to make this any more difficult. I think I had a couple of other notes, but I'm going to leave that for another time. So we'll talk about metabolism restoring and so forth at another one, because right now I just want to leave it as just this. I hope that this helps you. Let me know in the comments below if it does, if it resonates. I really hope that this is pretty clear and that it makes sense as far as how plateaus don't exist. Because if you adjust your exercise output, the calories you're burning, or if you adjust the calories that you're taking in, you will start getting back in a fat burning zone, And then if you get to a point where it's not reacting, that's when it's time to actually repair your metabolism, in which case